Hey!
When I travel somewhere, I usually don't stay around for too long, but I landed in Philly knowing that I'd be there for 3 weeks. The short excuse for staying that long was that one of my lifelong best friends was getting married. The plan was to surprise him, but we'll get to that part later. The longer explanation is that Philly is where I grew up and I hadn't been back in 10 years.
Nick says he'll do it this time.
Forget the sightseeing and whole immersing myself in the culture stuff. The only thing I cared about this time was seeing my childhood friends. Throughout the 3 weeks that I was there, I was staying over Nick's house. We've been best buddies since elementary school, and I hadn't seen him since Greece 5 years ago. We probably got a bit too excited because we went out drinking for the first 5 nights.
What are you doing down there, Sergi?
Trying not to get shot or arrested.
We ended up getting really sick, but I think it was worth it.
He literally brought the plant.
We spent the next few days recovering and playing video games. I kind of feel like on an international level, New York City steals the spotlight in the East Coast, but Philly is a place of first for its country. Penn's house was actually the first brick house erected in the country. The Philadelphia Hospital is the oldest in America. Benjamin Franklin founded the first scientific institution here, and the capital of the US during the signing of the Declaration of Independence was Philadelphia. So Philly is actually the birthplace of American independence. It's also home to the country's first daily newspaper, first zoo, first medical school, first Thanksgiving Day parade, so you get the idea. Having said that, most people, including myself, tend to associate Philly with more modern ideas, such as Allen Iverson, Rocky Balboa, Wawa, the Philly cheesesteak, It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, and for people living outside the US, the cream cheese, which by the way is not from Philadelphia. We ended up going to Center City where we met up with Derek. Him and Nick share a YouTube channel focused on the lifestyle of artists who know how to have fun, and you should obviously subscribe to them because they are incredibly talented and they're my friends. I've provided the link in the description box below. We went up to Derek's flat where I met his enormous dog, talked, and took some pictures. Just outside of Derek's flat was the Philly Pretzel Factory, something I hadn't eaten in 10 years. Now, if you've been following my channel, you probably know by now that I have a profound appreciation for soft pretzels. In Spain, pretzels aren't even really a thing. You have to go to Lidl just to get the closest thing to a soft pretzel, called a bretzel, and it sucks. And in Spain, people's jaws hit the floor when they see me putting mustard on one. But in Philly, everyone understands me. So much so that they even have a park called Pretzel Park. Anyways, the next day we played flag football. Just to clarify, it's American football. Now, American football is also something that I grew up on for a big part of my life. And back in Spain, I have to stream every Philadelphia Eagles game, even if I have to stay up until 6 a.m. by myself, because no one else gets it. Anyways, a few plays into the game, I got absolutely lit up. It was a really weird kind of bittersweet nostalgia. We went to Chipotle and I later bought some wedding clothes because after all, the wedding was the main event of my trip to Philly. We took a break, got a pretzel, and a chair massage. Wedding day eventually came and it was surreal to see one of my closest lifelong friends getting married. Huge congrats to these two. First up was the church ceremony and pictures. We later went for snacks and drinks and ended up at dinner. This is Pete, Snapchat name Pistol Petey. In case you were wondering, Pete's James' little brother. We ate some food, drank, and later battled it out on the dance floor. The after party was back at a hotel, so we brought what remained of the alcohol and finished off the night. Yo, Pistol Petey, you want some? Psych.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
Next day was a recovery day, so more video games, but we did make a homemade pizza, and it tasted pretty damn good. We ended up going to New York City for a day, but I'm leaving that for another video. Back in Philly, we spent the rest of my trip walking through different neighborhoods and eating. We actually ended up visiting the old neighborhood where I used to live, Garrett Hill. It definitely felt like there was a lot more going on as a kid. This is where I spent around 9 years of my life.
I kind of want to see my backyard, but it's like I would be...
You'd be going into a stranger's backyard.
It's pretty crazy how temporary everything is. After we soaked up all the nostalgia, we went over to another part of the neighborhood to get some dinner. Now, Philly is known for its Philly cheesesteak, but more interestingly, we found a place called Hip City Veg that made vegan Philly cheesesteaks. Now, I had no idea how they were going to make this, but I was very curious to try it out. While we were there, I also picked up some boxed water, which I only bought to be able to say that I bought boxed water. It's just water in a box. We went to a park and sat down. The vegan Philly cheesesteak was actually really good, and it came in American size, which is something you don't get that often in Spain. Anyways, we headed back over to Derek's place where he showed us the Atlas of Tomorrow, which is an interactive tool that promotes mental wellness as a critical component of thriving communities. Put simply, spin the wheel and match your number with a piece of advice.
Consider how small actions can develop a foundation for long-lasting strength.
On the same street was an area made up of recycled bottles and waste.
There's a freaking bicycle in here.
As well as several murals. Apparently there are over 2,000 murals in Philly and is considered the mural capital of the US. I had no idea, but now I know, and so do you. The last few days were spent catching up with old friends and enjoying my time while it lasted. It was a trip that I had waited 10 years for, and was actually probably the most nostalgic I felt in my life. For 3 weeks, it felt like I had never left. The round trip in total was around $520, and I booked the flights about a week before they came up. Word of advice, use incognito mode when booking, and don't be afraid to get the more inconvenient time. It can make hundreds of dollars of a difference. See you guys next time.
Subscribe to my YouTube.
All right.